first of all, what is it about Wales that make, why Wales? Why are you painting here?
Well, I decided to come back and paint in Wales about 30 years ago. When I first started to paint when I was 13 or 14 and I was at school, I painted the landscape near to where I lived in the Aber Valley, near Caerphilly. Because the art teacher that taught me believed that the first and most important thing that you should learn when you start becoming a painter is to know what your own environment is. Consequently, he encouraged us to look at our own landscape, the coal mines, the village, the streams, the quarries, to paint them as a way of understanding, making drawings that you understood them.
When you're painting that, when you make a painting, what are you trying to do with your painting? What are you trying to say something, or are you trying to share an experience, or what is it? Why do you paint?
Well, when I paint a picture, I don't know completely the answer of why I'm painting a picture or what exactly it is that I'm trying to say within a painting. What I'm particularly interested in, what excites me, is looking at the landscape. So therefore, the basis and starting of my paintings is by drawing. I look at the landscape and make drawings. There'll be times when I'm making that drawing and making that painting I'll be totally bored, but I know that if I keep working away and keep chipping away, that eventually there'll become a time when I become particularly excited and motivated by the landscape. I will hopefully have a painting which is not a copy of the landscape, which might be a memory of the landscape, but which in its own right will be an image made out of paint and colour, which will have the same kind of feeling and the same kind of vitality and life as the landscape itself.
I know you sort of work outside and you work in the studio here. Are they both part of a process of making a painting, or sometimes do you just make a painting which is made always on the spot, or is it a mix of both ways of working?
Well, obvious, it depends upon what time in my life you talk to me. If you talked to me 12 months ago, I would have said to you that what I now do is to make paintings directly on the spot, and there's a reason for that. There was a reason for it. I spent many years making drawings outside and sometimes paintings on the spot, but mostly drawings outside. Then I'd bring the drawings in the studio, and from the paintings, from the drawings I would make a painting. Now when you paint from drawings, your imagination works in a totally different way than if, for example, you paint directly from the landscape. And the reason that I decided to paint directly on the spot after many years was that when I was painting from drawings, I was tending to make images that I felt people too much and easily related to Arbach and Kossuth. And I wanted to make images which were purely my own, and I found that when I painted directly on the spot, that I responded to the landscape in my own way. I didn't rely upon the drawing, working from a pencil drawing or a charcoal drawing. I relied upon drawing with paint and colour. So the colours from one to another began to work, whereas when I painted from drawings, I had great difficulty in making the colour harmonise. Now that's went on for about 6 years. Most of my paintings for the last 6 years have been painted directly on the spot outside in the landscape. But at the moment of speaking, I'm contemplating beginning to paint from drawings again. And I suspect if I paint from drawings again, my imagination will have to work in another way, but also my experience of painting directly on the spot will feed into the new paintings. It's interesting because I remember Cyffin Williams saying, of all people, saying that he felt that masterpieces could only be painted in the studio. And I'm beginning to realise that there is a kind of a filterization process which needs to go into being. Now, when you paint the landscape outside, you don't want to paint everything that's there anyway. But sometimes all that stuff which is in front of you gets in the way, whereas when you make a drawing first, you've already filtered it down to an economical image.